What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Listography. TV on the radio week. Jason and Krams are coming at you. Joe's got the week off. We have already ranked their 5 studio albums, given you our top 10 favorite TV on the radio songs. And as we do every week, Thursdays, side 3 is a discussion based on that artist discography. Kram mentioned that he didn't really like Return to Cookie Mountain when he first heard it because his roommate was playing it all the time. And I didn't like it the first time I heard it either. I don't know what it was. My ears weren't ready for it. Maybe I was not in the right mood that day or whatever it was. But it took me until their next record to finally figure them out. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the records that don't really hit us right away, that we kind of grew to love later on. Growers, if you will, a term that gets thrown around a lot.
Growers, yes. And I'm trying to avoid artists that I finally came around to, because obviously their entire catalog, someone like Bob Seger, I kind of hated growing up, but now really like, so discounting, all of that sort of stuff. Here's one though. I've got MGMT's Oracular Spectacular from 2007 or 2008, depending on what sort of religion for release dates you follow. That was tough for us, an album of the year. When this album came out, it was huge. It was all over my campus. People loved it. I did really love the song Electric Feel right off the bat, but everything else, I don't know why I did not like it. I think it's because I saw photos of them or something, and it made me really judgy about them. I didn't know if they were these wannabe rockers that were playing off the youth, but combining it with dancey stuff. And it really bothered me for whatever reason it was. I just could not take it. I thought it was really lame. I didn't think it was insightful or catchy or anything. I couldn't figure out what they wanted to do. Couldn't figure out what this album was. A couple years later, figured it out. Love it. Also going to go with The Shins with O Inverted World. Took me a while. We grew up with some of the same group of friends that loved this album or this band immediately. I never was very crazy about it. I was much more of a hard rock guy. And then when Garden State came out, I was like, oh my God, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's so lame and trendy, and they're using the Shins as Carrying is Creepy and all this stuff as this I'm weird just for the sake of it kind of thing. And so I associated it with that, and I was like, the hell with this. This is garbage. But then I eventually started to really like it, and it's up there for me for sure. Number 3, I've always liked Talking Heads, always loved their singles and their radio stuff, and I even thought that Our House in the Middle of the Street growing up was a Talking Heads song. So I kind of expected that sort of style of Talking Heads. And when I had heard that Remain in Light was amazing and I listened to it, I wasn't ready for it. I was probably 17 or 18. I was like, I don't get what this is. I'm not ready for this. Eventually, I got into it big time, probably when I was 21 or 22, and love it to this day. Also going to throw out a band that I've always loved and never really got except the hits. That's going to be Vitalogy from Pearl Jam. And even I got into No Code and Yield and all of the stuff before I even really respected Vitalogy. I just didn't get it. I didn't get the more punk influences on it. But now I'm glad I do, because I think that record's great. So my number 1 has got to be Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. It was an album of the year winner for me. I think it's one of the greatest albums ever. I don't know what it was. I just never liked any of the songs on it. But when I was dating a girl in college that loved Fleetwood Mac, and she was like, oh, you got to listen. Let's listen to Rumours. And I was like, oh, okay, what's on it? And I was like, these songs, every time these songs are on the radio, I just turn them off. So no, I'm not going to get into this. Eventually, once I really sat down and appreciated, probably around the same time I got into Bob Seger, Jackson Browne, all of these kind of really great songwriters from the 70s. Rumours was just listening to it straight through. I was like, oh my God, what just genius on this thing. Awesome. And it was a runaway winner for me. An album of the year came out. So that's got to be my number 1.
All right. So for me, I'll start off with a couple that I can tell you right away why I didn't like them initially. It's because of the singers' voices. One of those being Kings of Leon. So I heard the first Kings of Leon record, or at least a few songs from it, did absolutely nothing for me. I thought his voice was awful. Aha Shake Heartbreak came out, and I thought the same thing initially, but for some reason I just kept listening to it, and eventually it just clicked, and I became one of my favorite singers ever. Um, for a while there, Kings of Leon was like my favorite band for a minute. Same thing happened with My Morning Jacket. I did not like Jim James's voice. I didn't really like the way they treated it with tons of reverb and just didn't get the appeal. With Z, I just kept listening to it until I liked it, basically. And really, there was a cover of it was basically the Monsters of Folk before they were called that. There was a version of them singing "Girl from the North Country" by Dylan, and Jim James's verse, or the part of it that he sang, sounded so amazing that I just immediately understood everything, and it kind of unlocked the rest of their catalog for me. One that I've got on my list is the record "Whiskey for the Holy Ghost" by Mark Lanegan. So this record, when I bought it, I was pretty young. It was probably around the time that it came out, and I knew Mark Lanegan's name. I just knew him as the guy from Screaming Trees, so I bought it. And it was so different from what I expected. It was really kind of dark and quiet and really heavy and emotional, and it wasn't what I was looking for or what I expected, so it just kind of went on my shelf for years. Finally pulled it back out years later and just totally loved it. Another one on my list, I'll go with In Rainbows, actually, by Radiohead. Did not blow me away. And at the time that it came out, I wasn't a huge Radiohead fan in general. I had listened to some of their stuff and thought it was okay, and I was still working through like figuring out why they were so great. And I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it when it first came out, but it was just like, this is another record of Radiohead's that's just fine. And I still didn't really understand the hoopla. And actually, that probably even more so than OK Computer or the Bends is the record that kind of made me sort of start to understand why Radiohead was great. As those songs kind of became favorites, so did their older work. And then the last one I'll go with is Doolittle by the Pixies. I was not an immediate Pixies fan. They, I don't know, I feel like they were often compared to Dinosaur Jr., who I always loved. And I never understood the comparison. I was like, get out of here. They're not even like remotely in the same ballpark. Like, I did not understand. Finally, Doolittle grew on me, and I still don't think they're anywhere close to as good, especially when you consider like a full body of work. I just think Dinosaur Jr. has more really good albums, but Doolittle is right up there with some of the best Dino stuff. So there you go.
Interesting. The discussion kind of became for you like albums that unlocked an artist, which is cool. I agree with you that I did not like the first couple Kings of Leon albums, and then I listened to Because of the Times, and I was like, man, Kings of Leon are awesome. But I still don't really care for the first couple. I liked Z immediately. That was one of the first things about My Morning Jacket I heard, and knocked me out of the park. Pretty sure I liked the Pixies pretty much from the get-go, but I don't really think I listened to their full records until college, in which case I was ready to love them by then. But you got some good ones there for sure. And obviously I listened to In Rainbows nonstop for about 2 months when it came out. So I was very far ahead with my Radiohead love compared to you.
I think I got it from you. I think you burned it for me after you downloaded it.
I think you're right, but I wish you hadn't said that out loud. Now it's on record.
I could have downloaded it for free anyways.
So it took you a while for In Rainbows, so maybe there's hope for Joe? Probably
No.
Okay.
Too many beeps and bloops, but let us know out there, what are the records for you that didn't click right away but you now love? Drop them down in the comments. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Hit the bell for notifications. Check out all of our social media. We got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We also have a website which you can check out. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.